You know, I always talk about, how if a good cop snitches on the bad cops, they get railroaded, thrown in the bus, or they get outed, or they get fired. We've seen a couple cases where that's happened. A good cop, a rat sound snitches on the dirty cops for to do good, was loyal and do duty for the community. And guess what that happens? Well, we got one right here. Former Medina County deputy said she was fired for reporting fellow deputies' unlawful search. Oh, see, here we go. Here we go. Yep. Cops always talk about, they love it when you see something to say something, all that, and they love it when you just back to blue, back to blue, back to blue. Yep. A former Medina County Sheriff's deputy said she was terminated last fall after raising concerns about an unlawful search conducted by a fellow deputy. Yes, sir. Here we go.
Medina County Sheriff and a former deputy have very different accounts of what led to her termination last September. Alexis Mireles says that she was fired after telling supervisors that her coworker conducted an unlawful search.
If you're not on their good side, then you're nothing to them.
Now, the sheriff is telling KSAT investigates Dylan Collier that the deputy had become a liability to herself and his agency.
And I always talk about way back in the day with Son of Hightower back in the days. He said it's such unfortunate that good cops are too afraid to stand to a bad cop. Because very rarely does a good cop, snitch on a bad cop where the bad cop gets fired or punished and the good cop gets promoted, or they get, credence or the condolence, like, good job, I'm glad and proud of you. I mean, that's very rare. Once in a while it happens. I mean, I wish it would happen more often, but it doesn't. What did Son of Hightower always said? And I agree with him. I mean, when a good cop usually stands up for the bad cop, what happens is they get thrown in the bus, they get railroaded, they get outed, and they have no choice but to quit or resign, or they get suspended and fired on the spot.
First of all, I want you to know that I love you and I care about you very much.
That is the voice of Medina County Sheriff Randy Brown late last summer, informing Deputy Alexis Spangler that she was being terminated.
And I'm not going to sit here and have a long discussion, but you are no longer going to be working here. And I'm sorry it's come to this, Alexis.
Discipline records for Spangler, who has since gotten married and changed her last name to Mireles, describe a deputy who had been characterized as displaying carelessness, endangering the safety of others, and having a substandard work performance during her year on the force. One sergeant documented an incident in which Mireles pointed her unholstered gun at the back of another deputy while they chased a suspect through the woods. Mireles' personnel file contained 7 complaint letters in all from supervisors and fellow deputies.
The chain is broken because they skipped some of the chain members, and it's a select few.
Spangler, now Mireles, claims a disturbance call along this stretch of County Road in late June marked the beginning of the end of her career with Medina County. She says while she and another female deputy were standing in a garage, the other deputy began to search through a cabinet.
I said, "You need a search warrant." She's like, "No, I don't." I said, "You do." And she opened it, pulled out, it was a container. She opened it, smelt it, put it back in, closed it. And that was the end of that discussion.
After Mireles says she...
It just makes me when you got cops these days talk about, I don't need a search warrant. I got a gun in a bag. I could do whatever I want. Just like you got cops talk about, like, I don't give a crap. I say, I don't care about your rights. Oh, you don't have no rights. Or screw your rights. Say, you don't have any rights. Only people have rights is us.
Alerted the brass. What was their response?
Okay.
Nothing else was...
Nope, and that's when all the issues started to progress, was after that.
It's worth noting the 7 complaint letters filed against Mireles were all submitted after she says she reported a fellow deputy for the late June search. The only record KSAT could find documenting performance issues prior to the search incident was Mireles being reassigned to a field training officer 3 days before it supposedly took place. Medina County Sheriff Randy Brown agreed to speak with KSAT on the phone for this story. He said he was unaware of any complaints about an unlawful search in late June, but that his administration is now looking into it, and that he paired Mireles with various field training officers after concerns about her performance were brought forward. Medina says she lost her job over trying to do the right thing.
Taking that away
And that's such a
and
shame,
me
too.
having to withdraw
It really
my
is.
retirement, it just put a real
And that's the thing too. Like what is so high said about that? You got cops on trying to do the right thing. They're trying to do about duty for the community, and guess what happens? They get thrown in the bus, they get railroaded, or they get fired. Like in this case right here.
it put a
It's such a
strain
shame.
on us financially.
For KSAT
Trying to do
Investigates,
good for the
I'm Dylan
community. Hardly
Collier.
ever, hardly ever
Sheriff
gets
Brown
a
also
reward.
told KSAT in
You
a
get punished
follow-up
for it most
email
of the time.
today that Mireles' claims of an unlawful search were found to be false. Mireles said that she attempted to get the Texas Municipal Police Association to challenge her termination, only to learn that she had been paying for a reserve membership and was thus not eligible for those services. By the way, this isn't the first time that a search by a Medina County Sheriff's deputy has been called into question. You may recall our reporting on Lieutenant Kathy Gonzalez. She was cleared of criminal wrongdoing, but recommended for retraining in November after a district attorney wrote that the lieutenant should have known her 2023 search of a residence without a warrant was unlawful.